So, how does it feel?
I'd say probably the most, there's so many emotions. It's been a very emotional weekend, even the last few weeks and the last few months getting ready for this. There's been a lot of preparation, a lot of time commitment, a lot of emotional commitment, a lot of financial commitment, a lot of commitment from my family, my wife, my kids, the staff at my barn. And I think to just get here, probably the biggest emotion I feel is just an overwhelming sense of gratitude for everything that has led me to this place. You know, being invited to compete here by Road to the Horse, the staff here, Pitchfork Ranch, all the volunteers, all the helpers, all the fans that were here, and most of all, by far most of all, to the horse. There's no horse that that signs up, that comes and volunteers the way that, everybody came here by choice that's here in the stands, but the horse never volunteered. And I just feel an immense amount of respect to try to do the right thing with an animal that's put in that situation, and to try to treat every decision I make with a thoughtfulness about it. And I definitely do not always make the right decision. I just try to keep learning from it when I don't make the right decision.
Yeah, you've mentioned how emotional this week has been and how you've been running on adrenaline and all. Was there a moment in that last round when everything just kind of stopped and slowed down for you?
There was a couple moments. They only lasted probably 10 seconds each, but there was a moment in the round pen when I felt a really strong connection with them, and I felt like we were both could just be smooth and kind of on the same wavelength, almost when horses are, like in a herd, and they both look up at the same time, or they both move at the same time, or they both stop at the same time. And I felt like there was a few moments in the round pen like that. And then later on, about halfway through the rail work, there was a moment there where I just felt how smooth he was being and how much he was offering me and how much I felt like we were on the same page, and everything just kind of felt easy. And I looked up into the stands, and I just kind of appreciated that moment there. And then after that, it just lasted 5 or 10 seconds. After that, it was kind of back to the task in front of me, which involved a lot of concentration and a lot of decision making, figuring out when to push and when to back off, when to give him time, and when I could work through it. And that's just the biggest thing with horses is trying to get better and better at reading them so that I can make the right decision about when to push and when to back off. And I'm just still learning, and I think I learned a lot this weekend, and hopefully my riding and my horsemanship and my ability to read a horse will grow because of it.
So how would you compare starting a horse for eventing versus starting a horse for this sort of event? Was there anything different that you would do besides the obvious time constraint and obvious?
Yeah, I think there's sort of well, first of all, leading up before I signed up for Road to the Horse, the biggest thing was some of the differences, like starting most of the horses I would start in an English saddle and English bridle and English tack, and I wouldn't start them with a time constraint, and I could do a lot of things a lot slower. I love, one of my favorite ideas, or the thing that I keep coming back to with horses, is building stuff 1% at a time, or even smaller than that, 0.5% of it at a time, that I'm just gradually making small improvements. There's not many things with horses where I go, okay, today I'm going to try to make this 50% better, or really get into something. Even with a horse that doesn't stand at the mounting block, often I'll just see if I can make it a little bit better each day. I find a lot of stuff goes smoother like that when you're not in a hurry, and you think that there's a saying that my mom told me when I was growing up. We had horses in Vancouver, and she would say, with horses, you want to think in months and years, not days and weeks. And I love that idea of just building stuff gradually.
Definitely. What about you? You did have a nickname for this horse.
Yeah, we called him Cat or Tomcat.
That's what it was. I was like, I know.
Yeah. my little Tomcat.
Can you just talk a little bit about his personality, about how he was in there, about how he's been for you all week?
Yeah, he's just been the sweetest horse. He's just tried so hard. He's got a soft eye. His curiosity was there. At the end, I was getting some walk, trot, and canter where he just felt really forward and smooth. And I mean, I could not say a single bad thing about that horse. I just absolutely love that horse.
Now, it hasn't all been smooth sailing. He's thrown a few hurdles at you.
Yeah. You know, I think when a horse does something like with Tomcat when he bucked a few times, I think in my mind that is 100% just a horse being a horse. And you know, when a horse does something, tosses head or kicks out or bucks, I'm just trying to treat that as information. I really think it's important for people to maintain an emotional balance and work on their emotional fitness. You know, it's something that very few people have naturally. Some people do, but it's something that I really try to work on, especially with horses, but probably in most aspects of my life, I try to keep working on that. And I just never, it just never really would occur to me, I think, or to think that he should be doing something different. You know, I don't use that word should. I tried to take that out of my vocabulary a few years ago, and I just think he's doing something, and either he's doing what I want or he's not doing what I want. And if he's not doing what I want, like, how can I show him the way to doing what I want? You know, if I had a little kid that was, you know, my daughter is 1 year old, not quite 2, and if she's having a tantrum, like, I just want to love on her and just show her that it's going to be okay.
Yeah, I think that's a really great thing for everyone to keep in mind. Yeah, like, horses are going to be horses.
Yeah, I mean, they're horses. Like, I remember asking years ago Jonathan Field when I first got started on this journey, and I said, you know, what if we could, like, work through breeding and try to take some of the reactionary part out of horses and some of that flight instinct that's a challenge, try and take that out of horses. And he just looked at me like I was crazy, and he said, like Tik, then we'd have a donkey. You know, like, horses are horses. Like, that's why we love them.
So, you put your hat on backwards up there. How's it feel to be?
Is it on backwards now?
No, you're good. And you said that this was your first belt buckle.
This is my first belt buckle that I've ever won. This is my first cowboy hat that I've ever won. It's my first Western saddle. Saddle there with a horn. I've never owned a Western saddle before. So it feels pretty special. You know, and I think everybody here, it's a little bit outside of my comfort zone with this culture, but every single person here has been nothing but welcoming, and I really appreciate that. I think it shows a lot of warmth and a lot of maturity and a lot of love, and I tried to give it back as much as I could. And it's just a fun event to be a part of.
This one's tricky. If you could, like, describe horsemanship or, like, narrow down the word horsemanship into, like, 3 other synonyms. Tell me if this makes sense. It doesn't make sense because it doesn't really make sense in my brain. But what other words would you, like, use to describe a good horseman? Like, a good horseman or woman? Like.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of sort of adjectives you can use to describe good horse people, and I think everybody has different priorities in what they're looking for. And so, first of all, before I tell you mine, I think that's okay, and I think that's good that everybody has different priorities. I think of a person that works with horses as kind of like a school teacher, and you sure don't want every school teacher to be like every other school teacher. I think it's important that some people find their way to lead that class through storytelling. Some people find their way to lead that class through jokes. Some people through sports. Some people through reading. Some people just through empathy and love. Some people through song. And I think it's the same with horses, that everybody has a different way that they try to approach the horse. I think we try to learn from everybody else and not try to copy them, but try to take the best parts you can and find your own heart and your own path to connecting with your horse. For me, I would probably say, for myself, one of the biggest things that's important to me is curiosity. Another one is the truth and honesty with myself about listening to other people and not just following what I think is true. And that can be hard sometimes, because I think it means I lose a little confidence in myself, because I'm constantly questioning, could there be a better way, and listening to other people. So I struggle with my own confidence sometimes. And then I think the last two things I would say is trying to find the balance between professionalism and joy. And I think having joy with horses is important, and I also think it's important to approach them with a level of respect that comes from professionalism. And I think that's a fine line that myself and my wife and everybody at Copperline treads with a lot of respect.
Thank you so much for your time, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Actually, I'm sorry, one more thing.
Yeah, no problem.
So you kind of went 3 for 3. How did that feel to just have a clean sweep?
I mean, it was, I guess it was a surprise. It was definitely not something that I thought about a lot. You know, occasionally you think about the results, but I really kind of made up a list of principles before I started this back in the fall 6 months ago. And it never was one of those principles about winning or the prize money. It was about my approach to this. And I'd just like to think that for me, it reinforces the idea that the process and the journey is the most important thing. And if I keep investing wholeheartedly in that, then other things will follow.
Now I promise I'm done. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate you.